Are the 49ers and Panthers going to combine for more than 90 points this week? What are you expecting from the Niners and Panthers?
No, it's going to be another stinky fest. No, I think the Niners will have more than a few successful offensive series than they did last week. I know the Panthers defense is really good. They're really good. But I think the Niners will be able to muster up some more points. I think they can get another 24-point game, which is fine. It's just cool. I feel like it's like an offensive average if you get 20 to 24 points. But this time it won't be with help from the defense. Although I think they could get some help from the defense. So at that point, it'd be like a 30-point score because Baker gives it up. Baker is so bad. My God, he's so bad. I mean, Christian McCaffrey is not the same player as he was. They don't have.
Who's a better player? Who's a better player, Baker Mayfield or Jimmy?
Right now, it might be Jimmy because I've only watched probably like a quarter a game for Baker, and it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Yeah. And then you have DJ Moore who's giving like little subliminal messages about like, I'm open. I don't know why. Like it's almost if it's not neck and neck, I might just give the slight edge to Jimmy at that.
Yeah, Baker's pretty trash, man. I'm not saying anything nice about him. He's terrible. Okay, keep going.
Before the season, I would have took Baker. Like you told me, like I was like, I'll take Baker because he got the arm. But
is Baker worse at acting or playing quarterback?
Right now, it looks like quarterback.
Quarterback? Yeah, he's a better actor.
Right now, it looks like quarterback.
Yeah, I would say, he should get back into those terrible commercials who's a better actor, Baker or Jimmy?
Jimmy, I think he actually believes what he's saying in there.
Baker's doing way too much. He tries too hard. Okay, the one thing, like Christian McCaffrey's healthy, and the Niners, they may not have Armstead, Kinlaw, little. Who am I kidding, man? They're going to score 0 points. The Panthers suck on offense. The worst offense in the league.
Bad.
The worst offense in the league. Probably the worst coach in the league, Matt Rule.
He's going to get fired in like 3 weeks.
He should have gotten fired years ago. I don't know why they hired that guy.
Well, better than to double down on your mistake with Sam Darnold than to double down again with Baker Mayfield.
You know why they hired him? Because he did such a great job with Jalen Hurd at Baylor. They were like, oh, my God.
Jesus, dude.
Are you going to do that here? Yeah.
If the Niners don't smoke this team, they don't cover the spread, which I think they're -7, and I think it should be higher. It should be like -9. But because it's at home, so that's already a 10-point swing, which is enormous. If they don't cover, like if they don't win by like at least like 10, then it's like, what are we doing here, man?
It's hard to cover a 7-point spread when your offense is out there scoring 16 points a game.
Yeah, and again, like I think the only
you said the Panthers have a good defense, right?
Yeah,
they got Brian Burns, Derrick Brown.
It's just I feel like at this point they just came from they played against they did play against Kyler Murray in the offense. That Cardinals offense looks so bad too. They made a lot of dumb mistakes. I just
let's hold on. Let's go through some players on this defense because they do have talent. I mean, on the D line, Brian Burns is a great edge rusher. Derrick Brown is a load in the middle. Pause. They got J.C. Horn on the outside, who's a hell of a player. They got J.C. Horn's kind of probably going to be matched up with Ayuk and Debo. This would be they got Shaq Thompson in the middle. This would be a good week to get George Kittle involved. Remember 85? He used to catch so many passes. He was so good. 85.
Who's this? They have another safety that's pretty solid too. I forget his name. He was like a rookie within the last 2-3 years.
Jeremy Chin, Xavier Woods.
Jeremy Chin is solid.
Jeremy Chin. Where'd he go? He's from Illinois? I don't know.
I could be wrong.
They don't say.
But I remember him coming out. I really
Southern Illinois.
Okay, Southern Illinois.
Southern Illinois. Good call. You were right, basically.
It's all the same.
All right, hold on. Sean says, hey, Grant, what do you think getting Legion of Doom trending online? No. Why?
Don't copy the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Niner fans at this point, you guys are going to be – their team is going to be so much better than the Seahawks for at least like the next 5 years. You're better than them. They say something, do something better name-wise and punk them forever because the Seahawks
Hey, is Geno Smith good now?
Huh?
Is Geno Smith good now?
Dude, no, because he was playing against the Detroit team. But you know what? He is looking better than Russ this year.
That's so interesting. So he's looking better than Russ, and Goff is looking better than Stafford. Explain that.
I told you last week, even against the Niners, remember, Russ is not good. Everyone kept saying it's the same Russ. Like, no, it's not. They're both peeled apart now. You can't have when peanut butter and jelly get separated, it's mediocre. They need to be good together, and that was what I was saying. They're a symbiotic relationship. Once they're separated, one is not good without the other. Although Seattle might look a little better without them, because but you got Hackett.
What kind of relationship do Kyle and Jimmy have? Is it a toxic relationship? It's one of those relationships where like they get in a fight at every dinner party, and it's like, man, maybe they should break up. Maybe they should see other people.
It was. I read a
There they
story
go
that their
again.
beef was stemming from like 2018. I was like, God
Kyle's
damn.
like constantly looking at other people at the party, and Jimmy's like, I'm right here.
Hey, sometimes a little friction helps.
Yeah, sometimes. Big Tone 707 says leadership is part of the quarterback job, right? Jimmy or Baker?
Jimmy.
Man, they're both leading the hell out of their teams right now.
Jimmy's Jimmy's at least respected. You know, when they acquired Deshaun Watson, the players could not wait to slant into the sky. The head coach was saying some things a little bit, I think, about Baker. My God.
They always talk about Jimmy leading the team. Like, Jimmy
What does
isn't
that
even a
mean?
hitchhiker. He's not even a hitchhiker on the bus. Like, you remember at the beginning of Back to the Future where Michael J. Fox is, like, going to school and he's on his skateboard and he's, like, hanging on the back of that car all the way to school? That's Jimmy. Jimmy is Michael J. Fox on the skateboard hanging off the back of the car going to school doing nothing. That's Jimmy Garoppolo leading the 49ers.
Jimmy's the
to the
homie
Super
in the
Bowl.
trunk when your whole car is full and you can't fit him in the car. I hate that take about leader,
I
dude,
used to do
because I
that.
feel like leader is a defensive term more so. Not saying it's not, you can't be used in offensive sense, but when I say like he's such a leader, I think about linebacker or safety or like even an edge rusher. Like that's a leader. Like he's out there pounding his chest, he's getting sacks, he's patting passes, he's locking down dude. Like, I feel like leader is more should be. I don't know, the way it's more defensive oriented and to me. Not to say that you can't use an offense, but I feel like it carries more weight. Defense. Like
Aren't the leaders supposed to be the people who are the most invested in wins and losses? I mean, the leaders aren't the guys who are like smiling and cheesing with their former teammates after the loss to Denver on national television. Like the leaders are the ones that take the loss the hardest usually. I mean, I was in that locker room. I saw Fred Warner. He had to like stare at the stare at the ground and talk to nobody to collect himself for like minutes. I mean, Frank Gore used to cry after loss. I'm not saying you have to do stuff like that, but those are usually the leaders, the ones that take it the hardest and that push the hardest to win. And Jimmy's right now, his attitude is kind of like, hey, man, I shouldn't even be here. You know, like you can't really fault me. I didn't want to be here. All that kind of like, okay, well, you're not a captain. You're not as invested as Fred Warner. I wouldn't consider him a leader right now. He's just, he's just filling time.
You can say what's up to your teammate, but being all cheesy, like nothing just happened, like just look like a little bummed or something, be like, what's up, man? It's all Gucci. Like plenty of times, I mean, I think any athlete, whether it's high school, pee-wee, college, like I know plenty of my old friends who used to play in like college, they were just like, when I go watch the support and they go out there, they go say what's up to their homies and like all bummed. It's like, yeah, Joe, whatever. It's like,
you're supposed to act that way. You're supposed to act that way. And you know, like if you've been in a locker room after a loss, what is it like? What's it sound like? Quiet. You never see a player in there like laughing it up. And if they did, teammates would be like, yo, not now. You never see that. And that's in all sports, baseball, basketball. If a team lost, it sounds like a funeral for that night. It just does. And that's for media too. You can't walk into the locker room talking at your normal tone. People be like, dude, they lost. This is very serious. So, I mean, it's just the way it is in pro sports. You gotta show. I mean, there's a lot of money at stake. There's a lot of people's jobs at stake. You at least have to fake it. Because I don't think they're really acting that. I don't think they really are about to cry, although Frank Gore did. But you gotta act like, you know, it really matters.
It's just mad. You get mad. You get mad when you lose anything or you mess up.
I think so. Antonio says leadership is also shown by example in the game.
That's true.
Leader. He leads by example when he steps out of the back of the end zone. That's leading. Jason says, I'm sold on trading Kyle Shanahan. What value would he get? I don't know. I mean, it seems like trading Kyle would be kind of like trading Kittle right now. Like you're trading low, selling low right now. Who wants Kyle in his 27th ranked offense now? Who wants Kyle in his quarterback developing skills right now? Hey, Kyle, we got a young quarterback who's kind of struggling. Why don't you come over here and run him between the tackles? I can do that. No, but we want Brock Purdy. Why don't you bring Brock with you? I don't know, man. Kyle's looking a little sus right now. He's got to, you know.
He's looking questionable, but
looking a little questionable.
Let's relax
but he
on
just
the get rid of him thing because if he's on the,
yeah.
you know, the Broncos would trade for him. The Panthers right now would trade for him. The Bears would have traded for him. Every team would have traded for him except for the Rams. Every opponent they faced so far.
His offense is underperforming. I'm sorry. I mean, he's got all the pieces. He lost Trent Williams, okay, but he's got the best skill position guys. He's got the quarterback that he wants, who knows his system. He had another quarterback too that he traded up for, broke that guy. I don't know. I'm starting to feel like he's got some fraudulent tendencies, and he needs to prove it right now. I don't want to hear any excuses. You got it all. And this is the team you wanted, and it's year 6. So you lost Mike McDaniel. Who cares, man? You lost Trey Lance. That's your fault. Make it work. Have an above-average offense. Above average. How about that? Can you just be a little bit better than the talent you have? That's always what I thought a good coach was. You take the talent, you make it a little bit better. I mean, if you have nothing, no one expects you to win a Super Bowl. But if you have it all, you got the defense, you got the skill position players. What is your excuse this year? But again, they might win the Super Bowl. They might never lose again with this defense. I don't know. But I think that he does his best when we put the pressure on him. So I'm not taking it off.
Is that why he likes you so much? That's why he gives you those beautiful stares that, like, I respect the hell out of you, man. Nothing says I respect you more than a Kyle Shanahan looking you straight in your soul.
And it's like, I get that, because anytime he loses, I'm on his ass. And it's like, do I have to be the one to pounce on him all the time? But the way I feel is like, if I don't ask the question, no one else is going to do it. And the fans want to hear it. And so it's like, that's why I'm trying my best to ask him, non-confrontational questions too, just to show him like, dude, I'm not here to be in a war with you. I'm not trying to get famous off of our little back and forth. I'm just trying to pick up the slack because other people here don't want to ask about these questions. And thankfully last week, a lot of people did. So
yeah, and last week, even when they weren't, some of them were just borderline, like not even like, it's like, dude, why are you getting so arrogant and snarky right now, man? It's like,
yeah, man,
lost.
Answer the question. It's a fair question.
We just talked about, that's their loss. So yeah, it makes sense for a coach because they spend hours. They sleep in the freaking offense a lot of times.
Yeah.
So I don't blame them for being pissed, but it's like, hey, that's part of the job, dude. You get up there and you have to answer. Be professional. You're over here crying about Debo having a game changer chain, which great, who cares?
Yeah.
You're crying about that, but you're gonna go up there and like, poo-poo on some report. It's part of your job, dude. That's great. We all have parts of our job we don't like.
And it's one thing for him to feel like, why am I getting all this criticism year 1 or year 2? I have excuses. I just got here. I took over a bad team. We're building it up. This is year 6, dude. You got no excuses. You're 2-2. You're riding the coattails of your defense, and your offense not only sucks, but it's really underperforming. It's very talented. It's extremely talented, and you're the common denominator here. So when you have a bad game, you just stand up there and you graciously talk and answer questions with your hands. Like it's the military, man. What do you want to hear? I'll say it. Well, you just got to take it. And I think the whole like arrogant, I'm above it is not playing well with your fans. To his credit, he hasn't acted that way this week, but he just won and no one's questioning him. So we'll see what he acts like after the next loss, which shouldn't be for a while.
I just won Kyle versus I just lost Kyle. It's so stark. It's just crazy to me because, like, since 2019 was the first year I covered the team, and when I was actually allowed back there, it was like, God, Kyle's very, very open and transparent with the majority of his answering. It's like, this is a great coach. Don't worry about freaking winning. Look how open he is, and I believe what he's saying to his players. And I still think it's the truth, but after that 2020 season when everything went bad, you just got short answers, monotone, piss, and it just became worse and worse and worse. And you could see it in his facial hair and his actual hair.
It's true.
How much stress is coming through. And again,
I
don't blame him, but again, dude, this is part of it. This is part of it.
And what's crazy is so he's really gracious during the offseason and after wins. When he's not being questioned, if the question isn't, Kyle, why'd you do this thing that didn't work? He hates that. If it's anything else, he loves it. But after losses, when he actually has to answer questions like that, he gets the red ass, as I would say. He's very defensive and arrogant. And
Did you?
Bill Walsh was the opposite. At least what my dad said. When they would win, he would be kind of arrogant, like no one believed in us. Oh, now you want to praise us. But when they lost, he would be like, hey, any question you want to ask, I'm totally open. He was almost like, a Catholic in church. Like, let me confess. Let me confess my sins, which I think is more endearing. Although you really shouldn't be arrogant in either way. But like after a loss, that is not the time to be like, I'm the shit. Like, no. Don't do that. That's not going to make you look better.
I don't know if you look at the transcripts from the other teams and the post game that the Niners provide us, but a lot of times when Kyle loses versus when the other team loses, and this is revealing, especially from his understudy or protege, his friend Sean McVay. I've never heard Kyle say this. Opening statement. All right, first of all, congratulations. The 49ers did a good job. I know he says good job, but he goes off and just says, like, defensively, I know that, story of the night, offensive perspective, self-inflicted wounds, like, we messed up, they did a good job. And he goes on a tangent. I'm not saying he has to do that all the time, but it's like, dude, like everything just sounds like an excuse almost, or just a cover up. Just like, you can't ask me anything. But McVay, it's like, you're more accomplished than Kyle, and he's over here being more friendly, a little more humble, I would say.
You know, he comes across as arrogant, but actually, it actually comes across more as insecure. If you can't specifically talk about your mistakes, because you know what you did wrong, but if you can't talk about it, it's like you seem insecure. Like you're afraid someone like me with a little bit of ammunition could take you down. Like, how weak are you? You're Kyle Shanahan. You should be able to take a loss in stride, you know, take accountability like Trey Lance and move on to the next one and win the next game. I mean, you should be able to do that. Other coaches can. To say it. Josh Wyatt says, you guys talk about Jimmy like he's the worst quarterback in football. Can we just be honest? No sacks Monday. It wasn't because the O-line blocked anyone. Yeah, it's because he threw like 9 screen passes and 17 slants. I mean, if a defense is just going to give up the screens and the slants all day, then Jimmy will be fine. I mean, he's still going to throw one pass that should get picked, but he can throw those routes. He can throw like 3 routes. So if you don't take him away, he can hit him.
I like to think we are being honest. We're just giving our opinion from the game.
Yeah.
Right or wrong.
He can. Yeah.
He can do
some things.
Your team has to get it right, because if we're getting it right, that means they're doing something wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not blaming him for the offense underperforming. We've seen him, be part of a better offense than this. It's hard to explain. I'm not putting it on him.
Yeah, pressure on him gets, again, because expectations were low this year. He's not getting paid the same, so, you still get scrutiny, but it's not on him as much as anymore.
Big Tone 707 says, El Jefe looks good. Nice burst. He's talking about Jeff Wilson Jr., right? Let's get Jeff Wilson Jr.'s numbers, because he's having a good season, and I think
I know you were hating on him after that one game.
I was. Yeah, it was just raining. So far, he's got 255 yards. He's averaging 63 yards per game. He's got 4.5 yards a carry.
Solid.
Nice. Good job, Jeff Wilson Jr.
That's solid.
Just another piece of evidence that points to the Niners' offense underwhelming drastically.
But the thing is, if you take away those one runs he did against Denver and against the Rams,
it's not good.
I think I had a debate with my cousin about that, saying like he thinks it's so simple that the Niners can just run the ball, and he's like, look at it, Jeff Wilson averaged 80 yards, 12 carries. Like, yeah, dude, but if you take away that one large run, it's great. You want the large run. I'm not saying you shouldn't have it, but you take it away, you kind of see that it's a lot top heavy.
It is. That being said, though, the Niners' best drive in the second half, in the third quarter in this game against the Rams, was mostly running the ball. It was that throw to Juszczyk for 35, but then it was Wilson for 5, Wilson for 8, Wilson for 8, Juszczyk for 9. So Kyle gets in a rhythm where he actually finds things that work, and it was like, if you remember, it was from the gun with like split belly action, like the H-back going across. Mm-hmm. Man, you have so many things you can do. Just keep cycling through until you find something that works and then stick with it. And in this game, it was like pulling guards and stuff from the gun between the tackles. It worked against this team. I don't know. You got to figure out what it works against that opponent. He found it.
This is rhythm play calling. We saw it last year too, when it was like, it wasn't a problem so much with the quarterbacks. It's like, can he find his rhythm? Can he find his groove? And as soon as I'm more concerned about his rhythm than I am about Jimmy's, to be honest.
That's true.
Jimmy can be off as long as he's playing well.
That's true. Antonio says Kyle Shanahan is his own worst enemy. He had the solution, Trey Lance. I can't disagree with that. He is his own worst enemy. And it's like, I really think, I'm not sure if they are, but all of these people in sports should have sports therapists. There's just so much pressure on them. And I mean, pretty much everyone should be in therapy if you can afford it. It's very expensive. These guys can all afford it. And I'd love to know if he weren't therapist, like what the therapist makes of Kyle Shanahan's self-destructive streak. Where does that come from? And how do you fix it? Because it's there. I'm sorry, he has a self-destructive streak, which is strange. He is his own worst enemy. And you can see it at the end of games. I would love to know where that comes from and how you get rid of it. It's crazy. Crazy. Anyway, Jose, good stuff. Good show.
What's our score prediction, early score prediction for this game? And how many sacks both are going to get?
I don't know. Were the Niners going to score like 17 again?
I think they can get like 20, 24 still, to be honest.
You think so?
I think they're going to be like a handful of stall drives still, like we saw, but I think they'll make a couple more breakthroughs because the game's not at 10 a.m. If it was at 10 a.m., I might feel like they'll score less, but it's at normal time for us.
Carolina's giving up 21 points per game. You think the Niners are going to score
Get that average,
more than.
yeah. 2024, give or take 3 points. Hey, that's pretty much around their average, 20 to 24.
All right, man. I mean, they have the talent to score 20, 27, 30 against this team, but I don't know. I'm not making my score prediction yet, but I still kind of feel like this offense is a ways away from
I'm not saying to keep it now because we both do our game prediction on Saturdays. I'll change it.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking right now out loud. I think it's gonna be like 24 to like 10, and that's because there's probably gonna be one turnover where they give the Browns
24 to 10.
The Panthers like some nice field position.
I'm not sure the Panthers score. They might get 0.
They could, yeah. I mean,
they might get freaking 0. I don't know. This defense is too good right now. They're like a few injuries away from being vulnerable.
Did you happen to see what Matt Rule said about being pretty much saying like, I'm afraid Baker's gonna get hurt in this game? He's like talking about we don't have a backup. Sam's hurt because he knows because of the pass. I don't know what the question was. I would assume it's because they mentioned like, what are you gonna do like protect Baker? Matt Stafford was on the ground like 80 times that game and under pressure 90 times. So I mean, he was literally saying that. He's like, oh yeah, Sam Darnold, he's not out there, so it's gonna be. And it's like, whoa, dude. So yeah, he's pretty much admitting like, yeah, Baker's gonna get slammed, man. He's going to
either Baker or Christian. You know what I mean? Like either if you don't put the game in Baker's hands and you're just gonna hand it off to your little running back over and over and over again, it's gonna be bad for Carolina.
Throw it to him because Fred can snuff him out easy.
3-0 is going to be the final score. Niners win 3-0, and Jimmy's going to get all the credit.
That's disgusting.